Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be letting you know how you can make use of secrets while working with Azure Container Group. So, in the last couple of videos, you've been seeing how we have been using connection string within our code. In this video, instead of hard coding our connection string in our Visual Studio, we want to allocate it in our container. So we want to use it in the YAML file. That's what we are going to be doing in this video. I'll be showing you how you can go about it. So let me share my screen to Visual Studio first. Yeah, so this is what we are going to be working with. This is the same application we used in the last video, which does, it basically does something very simple. When you run it, it downloads a blob in a storage account in a container. It downloads the blob and it stops executing. So that's just what this program does. But in the last video, what we had was this particular line, what we had was, so let me copy this. We had something like this. We had private static string, connection string, then we had blah, 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 blah. This was what we had in the last video, but this is not best practice. This is a poor security practice. So what we want to do is we do not want it to be in our code. So we want to allocate it using the same mouth paths that we were using in the last video, but you are going to see how we are going to go about it. It's a safer approach that we are going to be looking at. So let me close this. Let me delete this. Yeah. So you can see what we have here. We have the container name, which is just specifying the container that we want to download our blob from. Then this is the local blob. Then we have the blob name. But something is very interesting happening here. We are declaring a secret name, and there's a part to it, app secrets. Then we are now, we have something known as storage connection. Storage connection, just take note of it. So our secret name, we are allocating storage connection to it, and that storage connection is along this path, app secrets. Okay, so we are also declaring string, blob connection string and file, blah blah blah, secret name. So this is what will be used. Okay, but there's no value for it yet, right? So we are going to see how we will go about this. So the first thing we need to do, because we do not want to work in my own local computer, I want to work on Azure. The first thing we need to do is to, we are going to be publishing to Azure, which is what I'm doing now, publish. So let me create a new publish profile. Because I copied the previous code. I just duplicated the previous code and I want everything to be fresh. So container registry is where we are going to. Okay. Ayo frankly. So before I click on publish, let me just confirm that this same name, I've deleted it from the last video. Let me just go and look at my container registry to be sure that I deleted the one from the last video. Under repositories. So I hope we understand what we are trying to do. .NET DB app. Let me see what we have here. .NET blob app. So I believe I deleted it. So we can shoot. I hope we get the idea about what we intend to achieve. So what we are trying to do is, let me publish. Yeah. So what we are trying to do is we want to prevent the need to specify our connection string within our code. So that's basically what this is all about. We are trying to follow security best practice. We are not meant to have sensitive information within our code. So that's what we are doing. So um this is being done. Yeah. So our publish is succeeded. Our publish is succeeded. So the next thing we are going to do is that um so the image is already created. It's now pushing it to Azure Container Group. This should be done very soon. So the next thing we are going to do is I'll be showing you our YAML file because I mean we need to work with a container instance, and for us to work with a container instance, it is our YAML file that we are using to create a container group that contains configuration to set up our container instance. So while this is going on, I think let's just move to our let's just go to our console. So I want this should be finished because we are actually going to need some data from the repository that is being pushed to container registry in our YAML file. But let me just open our YAML file. We can just be speaking about that first. Okay, so this is our YAML file. This is what we are going to be using. So we start with our location is US. Let me confirm that my um my account is in East US. Uh, just confirm. I believe it's East US. It's East US. Yeah. Then name you can pick any name. I am using blob download secrets. Properties, the container, you give your container a name, calling this blob, the image. So now this is the image. So this image, this will go away. So this was why I wanted our stuff to be finished. So let me get the URL for the image. So at least even if it's yet to be pushed, we can still get the name for the image. So let me go to my portal, my job portal. There's my Edge browser. Okay, so our registry account is called Ayo Frankly. So you can go to access keys and you see those information. Ayo Frankly is the name. So let me modify our YAML scripts with Ayo Frankly. Yeah, with our fan clip. And we also need to change this. So let me go back to this so that you see what I'm doing. So I just modify this to Ayo Frankly. But we also need to change this, what we have here, to the name of the repository. And we need our publish to be done before we can be sure about what we are going to have here. So I think it's already done. So let's go to Visual Studio and confirm that it's done. Yeah, this is Visual Studio, it's completed. And the name should be .NET Blob App. So now let's go to our Edge and see if it's there. So where is repositories down here? So .NET Blob App is what we need. Yeah, so it's over here. So we can copy this and I'll go to the YAML and I'll put it in. Yeah, .NET Blob App. So we have that. So we are good over there. So when we scroll down, all this is fine. And now the volume mount. So you need to use what you've already specified from your Visual Studio. So I specified app slash data for the blob that we are downloading into a volume, into a file share rather. Then I call the name file share volume. Then the second one, I specified app slash secrets. And the name that I'm using here is volume secrets. So this name is just for reference purposes. So let me confirm I truly specify app secrets from the code. Let me just be sure. App secrets, yeah, that's correct. Okay. So we are good over here. We call it volume secret for reference purpose. OS type is Linux, which is fine. Restart, I do not need it to restart. The name, volume secret, which we called over here. Now, this is where the action happens. So, earlier on we spoke about not hard coding our connection string in our application. So this is where we are now going to specify our connection string within our container. However, to add another layer of security, so you do not paste the connection string as it is in this YAML file. So even though the YAML files are usually more safer than the code in itself, because I mean so many people can access the code and the YAML file can be more limited in terms of the persons that are having access to it, but it's still a risk. So what we are doing is we are encoding the value, the actual connection string, and I have a script that I use to encode it to base 64, and it's the base 64 value that we have here. So there are so many platforms on the net or even natively in your Windows system that you can use to encode any value to base 64, which was what I did. So this is the base 64 value that I already did. There was a PowerShell script. I will probably add that to the description, and you can use that to decode, and you can use that to encode rather. And another thing I want to say is that let me confirm I didn't add that and another space. Another thing I want to say is that you can see we are using this secret here. So we do not need to decode it before using it, because Microsoft would already know that this value is an encoded value and it will be decoded before use to connect. Then the name so we already explained this file share volume and the name of the file share container share. So I need to create this container share. So let me go to my let me go to my I need to create this and I need to slot in my storage account key also. Let me create container share. This is my storage account, so I need to go to file share, then create a new file share. Call it container share. Okay, I do not need backup. Yeah, so I've created that file share. So if we should browse, you see that it is empty. It will be empty now because obviously there's nothing there. Yeah, no files found. So what we also need to do is we need to get, so let me show you our YAML file so that I wouldn't just be working on my own. So we need to from this our YAML file, I've created container share, but our storage account name Frank, which is correct. Our storage account key, we need to get our storage account key as well as the server. This is for the image registry. So we'll get this from the image registry. Let me just put X over here so that I wouldn't forget. So let me just get up my storage account key. I don't know if the value here I've replaced it. So it's better I'm just setting. So let me go to access keys, and the key. So I think it's correct, IP3NLE. It's correct, IP3NLE. Yeah, so now the image registry is where I need to do some corrections into the image registry. Yeah, so let me go to the image registry. This is the container registry. So I just need to go to access keys also here and copy the server name. So the server name is Frankly login server. So let me just copy the password first. I've copied the password, then Frankly is the registry name, login server, blah blah blah. So I will use that. Okay. So this is the password. This one's will be entered directly. So over here it's called Frankly. Server name Frankly, and the username is also Frankly. Okay, so this is looking good. This is looking good. This is looking good. I think we are good to go. Hopefully, all these so many keys that we've been entering, there's no error in any of them, because if there's any little mistake, it will affect our connection. Yeah, I think everything looks fine. I think everything looks fine. So I can run my YAML file. I can run my YAML file. I can run my YAML file. Okay, so let me stop sharing. Let me go back to my Edge browser. Then what I will do is let me open my PowerShell on Azure, PowerShell on the cloud. Oh, I thought I created this already. Create a storage. Take a while. So always remember um the aim, the objective for this video. What we want to do is, instead of storing our connection string in our code, or if we have any sensitive information or any kind of credentials that we require our backends to interact with, or we are trying to make some kind of calls within our application to some endpoints. So this is what we need to do. We can do this from our YAML file, from our container. Let me just switch over to PowerShell. And we did not, something you need to take note of is that we did not add code the connection string in our what's it called, in our YAML file. Rather, we encoded it into base64 before using that version of it. Another thing I will add is that there are so many ways to approach this, but I am just using this method, but there are so many ways you can handle sensitive information within your code. Even I could remember when we were working with function applications, I I used a kind of vault within Visual Studio to store some of my sensitive information. You can also connect to Azure Key Vault. There are so many things you can do on this. So upload, want to upload my YAML file. Okay, so I've uploaded it. So let me. So one thing I will do is just to confirm that what we have there is actually correct, so that I wouldn't be going to another file. Let me just see if the secret is here. Okay, it's here. Because I know I have a lot of YAML files and they all have the same name, containers.yaml. So what we will do now is we just need to run our scripts. We just need to run our scripts. So I already have the command somewhere, and I will be using that. Okay, so let me just copy this. And what this would do is it will run, it will create a container instance for us. Is it container create resource group? So I need to change this from new group to is it 204. And the file containers.yaml. Yeah, I think this is good. This is good. Yeah, let's see. Hopefully it works well. So this will create a a container instance. It will provision an instance, and it will also keep the container running. It will download the blob before terminating. So hopefully the way we can know if this works as appropriate is we can go through the logs from the container instance, or we can also, if we see that our blob was downloaded from the file share, then it means it's worked. Okay, so let me scroll up just to see if the message says succeeded. Okay, it says succeeded. Okay, so what we'll do now is, I hope I'm sharing my screen. Yeah. So what we'll do now is, I want to go to container instance. So I will refresh this so that this was the one we did in our previous videos. So I'll refresh this and we should see another one. Yeah, blob download secrets. So one thing I would, let's even go straight to our storage account, file share. Let's go to file share and let's see if we have um our course.json downloaded. Take note that we did not use connection string directly. So it's this container share. Okay, so now we'll go to browse. Let's see if we have course.json. And we do have course.json. So everything worked as appropriate. So I hope we get the point. And all this worked without a connection string. So if I should go to our Visual Studio that contains the code, there's no connection string hard coded here. And even in our YAML file, the connection string was not hard coded there. What we had there was the encoded version, the base 64 version. For security reasons, we had to encode it, which is best practice. So I believe this video have been informative. If it has, then don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.